With the streets of Raccoon City flooded with the undead citizens chasing those who aren't infected yet, 4 survivors find themselves trapped in the Apple Inn Hotel, where various lickers are creeping by, awaiting for new victims to prey upon, including what appears to be a zombie liquor hybrid known as Suspend Dead, or Regis liquor. To make matters worse, the entire hotel is in the process of burning down. After the survivors reach the location of the Apple Inn Hotel, 2 firefighters, Len and Charlie, are shown inspecting the boiler room when this happens.
Len, you take downstairs.
What's that?
It's gonna blow!
Get out!
The explosion caused a devastating wreckage that traps the survivors within the hotel's courtyard, and now, it is time to complete a set of objectives in order to access a way out of this hotel before it completely burns down, frying any living beings caught within this Hellfire. If you want to complete this scenario as fast as possible, this is what you need to do in order to complete all the main objectives. Head into the open doorway of the boiler room. Here you can find an iron pipe and maybe even a handgun or shotgun depending on the difficulty you chose. And if you're playing as David, I recommend that you do take that iron pipe since you'll find another useful weapon that combines with this weapon in a few minutes. Now here you need to analyze the body of the firefighter a few steps ahead of the entrance to trigger a cutscene.
Excuse me? Hey. Huh? What? No.
Now backtrack towards the courtyard and enter the room which was blocked by a zombie earlier. Once you've entered this area, head straight ahead through the corridor and upstairs into the 2nd floor. If you're playing as David or your partner happens to be that character, grab the concrete piece near the flames and combine it with the pipe to create the hammer, one of the strongest melee weapons in the game, dealing over 240 points of damage, and it'll knock down a zombie with just 1 hit. Regular tackle damage takes about 10 to 20 points. Knives, iron pipes, and broomsticks take about 40 to 60 points of damage, so you can see how the hammer can be quite the powerful weapon to make. Ironically, if you're playing as David, his personal items like the wrench can deal up to 250 points of damage, so be sure to use that limited supply to your advantage. After you reach the 2nd floor, enter the door to your right. This is where you will obtain the gold relief key, but only after solving the puzzle that unlocks its case. There's a shotgun in the corner of the room by the bed, but only if you're playing on the easy or normal difficulties. By looking at the portrait with 9 squares, you'll see that 1 or more squares are not lit. Since the lit rooms are always chosen at random, there's a rare chance that they will all be lit, which means you don't have to do the puzzle and you can already take the gold relief key from its box. But whichever rooms are not lit, then you will have to go into these specific rooms and flip a switch that's underneath the portrait. These are the numbers of the rooms you'll have to check. Some rooms have locked bathrooms, so if you're playing as Alyssa or any NPCs of her character type, use her lockpicking tool to unlock them. You can also break open the bathroom doors by force, which can take over a minute to break open, so it's a matter of patience if you're willing to wait. After flipping the switches to the specific rooms, take the golden key and exit the room. Then make your way through the corridor until you reach the door with a numeric keypad at the far end. To unlock this door, you'll need the guard's notebook, which is found in the lean-in room in the 1st floor. But if you feel like skipping that part, then here are the passcodes that can unlock this door. It's chosen at random, so you'll go through a little trial and error if you chose not to find the guard's notebook. Once you've entered the security office, your second partner should be entering this room from the opposite side and even give you the silver relief key which is needed to complete the scenario. Take both keys, but before exiting this room, If you're playing on the harder difficulties, you might find a shotgun where there are old weapons displayed. There are a few extra useful items to take, but I recommend you leave them here, as this is a room that you'll be coming back to near the end of the scenario. So exit the security office using the double doors and make your way through the hallway filled with zombies. After dealing with them, enter the room to your right. Here you can take an item from the top shelf, and then push the crate in the center towards the open floor hole. Then descend into the hole and into the owner's room. Here you'll find a couple useful items, special items as well, and the guest list copy. Exit this room and head towards the left side of the corridor and either deal with the lickers here or avoid them. Then use the gold relief key on the door to the far left. This will give you access to the power supply room, where you'll have to deal with an easy but fun puzzle. It's always a different pattern, and depending on the difficulty you chose, it does get a bit more difficult. But it's not really complicated, only when it comes to explaining how to do it, as it's a lot faster to complete it than it is to explain how to do it. Once you start pressing different squares, you'll instantly get a better picture of how this works. Anyways, after completing it, power will be restored, so exit this room and use a silver key with the room next to the power supply room. Now you'll be back into the corridor from the beginning. Now you can head upstairs again, this time keep going upstairs into the third floor, and use a silver key once again with the first door to your right. Both keys are now useless, so you can get rid of them now. You could leave behind the golden key after using it once, since the power supply room is the only door that it unlocks, but don't forget that the silver key unlocks 2 doors before disposing of it. After using the silver key again, switch it out with the next item you'll be taking from this room, the red jewel that lies within a decorative tree. Now, you can go back to the security office by going downstairs to the second floor, enter the door with the numeric keypad at the far end again. Now that you've reconnected the power supply and obtained the red jewel, you can complete the final puzzle here. First, you must push the bookshelf to reveal a secret door, and to open the door, place the red jewel into the notch of the bust of the statue. The door will open, and by now you should pick up every useful item from this room before proceeding through the door. The secret door leads you to the Apple Inn's front lobby, but upstairs, so examine the device next to the gap in the rail to lower the emergency ladder. But once again, pick up every useful item up here before descending down the ladder. Now you can prepare for a boss fight, which I consider to be the easiest in the Outbreak games. This is the Regis Licker, or Suspend Dead, if you prefer that name. Once she appears, she'll automatically grab onto your character and throw them into the center of the lobby. She'll lash her tongue at you every time you attack her, and sometimes she'll use a combination of tongue lashes to deal even more damage, so be aware of it when she's preparing for her 100 lashes tongue attack. The best and easiest strategy is to run towards the entrance of the hotel and shoot her from that distance, as her tongue lashes will not reach your character if he or she is at this far end side. Sometimes lickers will try and attack you if you move towards this location, so dispose of them with your shotgun, rinse, and repeat the process, and you'll be eliminating this boss in no time. As mentioned, this is the easiest boss that you'll encounter, and reasons why is because even though she is accompanied by various lickers, you can dispose of them yourself or have your partners deal with them as you deal with her. And according to the strategy guide, she only has 3 different moves, 2 of which are the same but deal different damage. One thing I don't get is, why does she only stay in this spot when surely she could crawl on walls and move around? I know her intestines are sticky now, but it wouldn't forbid her from moving around, would it? I've analyzed this specific creature boss in a separate video once, and she does have a mauled up leg, so it's likely that the creators wanted to make sure that this licker could not move due to these injuries. And if so, I think they should have at least added a few more attacks to make her a little challenging. The addition of throwing in lickers is one thing, but it would have been more intense if she could pick up items from the lobby and throw them at the survivors, or even pulling survivors towards her where she can attack them off screen by pulling them into the air vents. Maybe this could have been her one-hit kill attack. Similar to the A and B scenarios of Resident Evil 2, you'll be surprised to see that this scenario offers two paths as well. These paths are chosen after the cutscene where the character tries calling for help. Going up the ladder is one path, whereas turning back into the courtyard and entering the door that the zombie was blocking is another path. You won't be able to switch paths once you climb the ladder or enter the courtyard since the ladder breaks right away. I always choose the path where you go back to the courtyard, as sometimes you won't even have to deal with the golden key puzzle since the portrait switches are positioned at random, and that could include having all of them switched on, allowing for an easy, quick playthrough, or speedrun. So remember how your partner showed up at the security office with a silver key? Well, this is what your partner, or you, will have to do to obtain that key. At the beginning of the scenario, climb the ladder after the cutscene from analyzing the dead firefighter is over. Then make your way to the open window in the hallway ahead of you. Here, you will have to navigate along the ledge outside the building. If you press the R1 button, your character will grab onto the ledge, which can be used to avoid the backdraft coming from the open window that's in your way. But be aware that the backdraft is not the only dangerous obstacle, as a crow or crows will be flying by ready to attack, which can lead to an instant death. From here, you must unlock the door across the hallway which leads to the security room. So head towards the boiler room to obtain the security room card key. Follow the corridor all the way south and enter the only door at the far end. In the tight room, check the shelves for shotgun rounds if you need them. Proceed through the second door to enter the boiler room. Then search the janitor's corpse to find the card key. Now you can backtrack over to the corridor in the northwest passage, and swipe the card key at the panel beside the security office door and enter. This is when your other partner should be entering this area as well, holding the gold relief key, assuming that your partner survived along the way. If not, then you'll have to either finish the puzzle for the golden key, or find your partner's corpse to take the key from their inventory. After this, you'll have to use the golden key to enter the power supply room and reconnect the power supply. We've covered that section with the walkthrough from the first path, so I won't repeat the details. After reconnecting the power supply, head to the end of the northwest passage one-way and enter room 101. Check the bed at the back of the room to find the hotel charge breakdown. Compare this with the guest list copy found in the owner's room and input the 3-letter code into the safe that's built into the wall of that room. Now you have access to the silver relief key, and this is when the next objective is to get the red jewel in the 3rd floor and use it to enter the final location leading to the fight against the Regis liquor. In the hard and very hard difficulties, there will be a few rooms that you cannot enter since they've already been covered in flames, and if you try entering them, you'll be severely hurt by the backdraft. So before you enter any rooms, look underneath the doors and see if there's smoke coming from the other side. In the Northwest Passage 1 location, there's a bench in the hallway, and if you search under the bench, you'll find a shotgun or a knife. This area will likely be crawling with lickers, so you won't have to worry about how to deal with them if you get the shotgun. If you take Len and Charlie's firefighter tags and complete the scenario while holding them in your inventory, you'll get a secret cutscene after you exit the Apple Inn Hotel.
You will always be with me. I hope you find peace.
You will also unlock firefighters from the collection menu. Near the end of the scenario, once you've obtained both keys, head into the lounge stairs, go all the way to the top floor, enter the corridor in the 3rd floor, and enter the room with the missing number. Here, you'll find shotgun rounds and a green herb if you're lucky. But what you might not know is that this room has a cracked wall on the side of the room that can actually be broken off, allowing you to crawl through it and enter a room you couldn't access by force or by using a lockpick. This room contains a zombie and a dead survivor. Eliminate the zombie and examine the woman's body to find an antivirus pill with a stronger effect. I believe if you take too long to enter this room, it could determine whether she's still alive or not. After all, there is a zombie roaming in that room, and taking too long could result in her being devoured. One final item to obtain from this room is the grenade launcher with vitriol rounds, but it also depends on the difficulty you chose. After picking it up, unlock the door which will give you a shortcut to room 306 where you get the red jewel. In the Hive scenario video, I mentioned that there was only one crawling zombie in the entire scenario as well as the entire game, However, this scenario has 2 crawling zombies, only they happen to be in areas where you don't need to proceed through to complete the main objectives, so I completely forgot about the existence of these 2 crawling zombies. Again, it's a shame that there aren't more of them, or better yet, why can't you simply shoot a zombie's legs off like how you could in the previous RE games, so they're forced to crawl towards the survivors. Playing as Cindy in this scenario will make it the only time she ever partners up with Alyssa and Yoko as her AI partners. No idea why, but it would have been interesting to see unique cutscenes of the 3 working together, something that explains why they only do this once in the game. But it only adds to one of the main questions I have with the Outbreak scenarios. Exactly who ended up going through each scenario of both games? Because I'm not sure all of them went through each scenario together. At the location where you must step onto the ledge of the building, there's a zombie that keeps trying to break through the window. But most of the time it won't break through it, and when it does, it doesn't land on you. When fighting against Suspend Dead in the harder difficulties, sounding the bell will cause the Lickers to swarm around her to protect her, so ringing the bell won't make it easier to defeat her, but make it a little more challenging instead. 2 special items that belong to Ben Bertolucci from Resident Evil 2 can be found in the first floor of the hotel. Ben's passport reads, "This belongs to a man named Ben Bertolucci. The owner must be looking for this." His date book reads, "Could be some news reporters. It's filled with lots of supposed scoops." And if you're playing on the harder difficulties, and the special item set happens to be 3, reach the hotel lobby where you face off against Suspend Dead, and at the counter, you'll find the hotel register which reads, "It's dated quite some time ago." One of the names reads Claire. This could indicate that Claire Redfield has visited Raccoon City more than once, and not too long ago from this point. And the funny thing is that she'd rather stay here than stay at her brother's place when visiting him. One thing that's very obvious when it comes to playing this scenario is the fact that the Licker design is not exactly what they're supposed to look like. In this cancelled model, we can see that at one point they were going to resemble their original designs, but for unknown reasons they went with these skinnier and shorter designs. And since the Outbreak games are technically canon to the original timeline, it is very likely that these are the appearances of a Licker in its early stages of mutation, or they could be children who turned into a Licker, hence the shorter and less bulky designs. The Apple Inn Hotel is simply one of the most creative locations to explore during the downfall of Raccoon City. A burning building filled with Lickers, including a type of A and B scenario, special items connected to familiar faces, and a fun boss battle that's too easy, so you always have the urge to try something new to win the outcome. I'd say that the downside about this location is that it's hard to remember certain rooms or locations due to the amount of identical rooms and corridors that lie within the hotel. However, I was able to enjoy every playthrough even if I lost, because it's not a long scenario. In fact, it's likely to be the one scenario of both Outbreak games which can be completed the fastest. But with the variety of options and outcomes, I have yet to be disappointed when revisiting the Apple Inn Hotel. Next time we'll be taking a look at Decisions, the 5th and final scenario for the first Outbreak game.
That was close. It's not just the hotel. Now the whole city is burning. You were lucky.
You helped.
We've been patrolling the city, trying to help those in need, but it's worse than a war zone. The army's been called in. Better get out of the city while you can. I have a very bad feeling.
Oh joy. So I escaped from the fire. Doesn't change anything. I'm still in a city of wriggling dead bodies, forced to listen to their moans. When is this stupid game gonna end?
That's it for the video. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button to give this video a chance to grow. I'd like to thank all my Patreon supporters for their impeccable generosity. Your support means a lot to me, and you are part of the reason why I try to make the best content that I can. And if you like this content, check out the rest of my channel. You'll find more entertainment from separate franchises I like to cover, such as Mortal Kombat, Dragon Ball Z, Celebrity Deathmatch, Men in Black, The Mask, Batman comics, The Terminator, TMNT, Dino Crisis, Resident Evil, and more. If you're a Patreon supporter, check out my exclusive videos such as the Gantz content. And if you'd like to show your support, go to my Patreon and support the channel, which is only $1. Sacrifice that McChicken for extra quality content, my friend. But anyways, I'll see you all in the next video, and remember to have an awesome day.